I would have regretted not trying out this dream I'm currently living.
100%. And I don't think it's ever about like making a mistake. That's not the dream I want. It's really more about the fact that life is fluid, right? Shizzle happens. And I have learned that even if it's not forever, it's still great to dream big and get what you want.
Welcome to Drinks with the Girls. Conversations for women over 40 around connection, change, and the power of female friendship. Living well with stories to tell. I'm Karen, and this is Lisa.
We are moms and solopreneurs stepping into our own, diving into real conversations about things that matter to women in midlife.
We're here to spill the tea on everything that affects women in their 40s and beyond. Topics like loss and grief, changing relationships, launching kids, menopause, and reinventing ourselves in midlife. We are here to tackle it all.
Connect with us through a blend of our lived experiences, our friendship, the memory of our moms, plus a collection of real stories, honest conversations, and engaging interviews that will make women over 40 feel seen and remind them that they're not alone on this journey called life. Let's go. Since I'm all about the quotes on this episode, apparently, here's another one of my faves. This is called When I'm an Old Woman, I Shall Wear Purple, and it's by Jenny Joseph. When I am an old woman, I shall wear purple with a red hat, which doesn't go and doesn't suit me, and I shall spend my pension on brandy and summer gloves and satin sandals and say we've no money for butter. I love it. I love it.
So good. That poem always reminds me of my mom.
Oh, that's so cool.
I know. I love it. I'm so glad that you mentioned that.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. And then, of course, the Golden Girls, who we all love.
Can you believe they were our age?
Stop.
Like, they were our age.
Stop. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Total side squirrel. But if y'all have not watched the YouTube of, who's the woman that just passed away from the Golden Girls? Like, thinking B. Arthur, but
totally. Betty White?
Thank you. Jesus, Mary, Mother of God. So, random squirrel, but y'all know Betty White was a national treasure. If you have not watched the plentiful YouTube videos out there of her last appearance on Saturday Night Live, do yourself a favor and watch it, because first of all, it's like a school in being a master comedian, but you can just tell, like, so basically, I don't know if you all know the story, but essentially she was like a fan request, and everybody's like, it's Betty White. Whenever Lorne Michaels was like, who should we have on the show? And she was like, no. And finally, everybody's like, no. So she went on, and she literally in her monologue talks about this. But she's so good. Her timing is so good. And you can literally see these like giants of the comedy world, like Kristen Wiig and all these people trying so hard not to break character, because she's just so dang funny. But it is, oh my gosh, it's a riot. You got to watch it.
Yeah, she is a classic, and that is a classic SNL episode.
On the other side of things, you know what I heard the other day? I heard that the 80s are closer to Pearl Harbor than they are today. That's just not cool. I don't
like that.
I know. I'm
like
not
that one
for
bit.
that. No, I'm not for that at all. So, okay, name one thing now that you wouldn't have been caught dead doing in your 20s that you're totally fine with now.
That's a good question. You know, honestly, it's speaking my fucking mind. And how sad is that? Like, not that I wouldn't have been caught dead doing it, but I didn't have the skills and the confidence to speak my mind. I was such a people pleaser. I never wanted to ruffle feathers. I would keep my opinion to myself a lot of times because I thought conflict or disagreeing was a bad thing. And this was because of how I was raised. And ultimately, it was one of the things that led to the end of my marriage, but that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah, I watched my mom tiptoe around my dad's temper for years. And unlike you, when she'd finally had enough, it was too late. But again, story for another podcast.
Yeah. And now, and I think this is one of the beauties of turning 40 and certainly turning 50, is I just don't give a fuck. And honestly, using salty language is part of that. I liberally, as you know, use the F word, and this really bothers some people. But this is how I talk at home with my kids, with my family, with my friends. So of course, this is how I'm going to show up. And I want my community to always know that they are getting the real me. But how about you? What wouldn't you be caught dead doing in your 20s?
Well, gosh. Well, I mean, honestly, I think I'm kind of the same, right? I was so obsessed with like what people thought of me, and I just don't care. I mean, I hardly think I'd be going braless in the grocery store in my 20s. Like that would have never happened in like a million years, whether or not I had a middle school daughter or not. Like that was just not, right? And I just think about the cognitive load that was spent worrying about what other people thought. And it's interesting because I can remember in my 20s was kind of the first time I started to push that envelope and doing things that friends and other people were like, why would you do that? And I just remember thinking, why are you trying to shame me for doing anything? Right? Like I remember one time I smoked a cigar and my friend was like, what are you doing? That's so horrible. And I was like, no one's going to die. Like what is this about? You know, but very much like, you know, Handmaid's Tale, like society is going to be like, nope, I'm sorry. That's not acceptable for sure. To me, again, I go back to the whole tearing down women thing, right? I'll never understand that. I'll never understand when a woman tears another woman down. Like there's enough of that going on, right? I love the idea of examples, right? And a lot of times we can find that in our elders, right? In a lot of societies, elders are respected. I wish we did that more in this country.
My name is Karen Shatafian, and I am a shameless coffee addict and empowerment coach for women, and my love language is authenticity. My mission is helping women in midlife unapologetically design a life they're in love with. My website, KarenShatafian.com, has all my coaching packages and juicy things I have coming up, like my in-person retreat called Exhale in October 2024. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram talking about ways women can show up for themselves after decades of showing up for everyone else. Join me as we throw off the shackles and live our best freaking lives.
One of my favorite stories about role models is everyone knows that I am obsessed with my alma mater, Smith College. So reunion is a huge, massive deal there. Like, for example, my class, we were supposed to have our 30th reunion in 2020. And of course, we were all super pissed off about it being canceled for obvious reasons. It is so popular that we have to trade off doing it as a class on graduation weekend and then non-graduation because it's so popular. We max out the college. So what I mean by that is Smith has houses, right? It's really similar to sororities, but you can move around a little bit more easily. But they each have their own traditions and kind of history and all that. So we go back for these reunions, right? And each alumni class gets an entire house to themselves. And of course, there's all this competition for, you know, what people want, right? And the older you get, the better choice you have. So there's always shenanigans, but there's always lots of love. And those of us who have daughters or offspring that identify as female, we bring them. My daughter, one of her happiest memories is when she turned 5 and I brought her. She was really mad and missing out in 10. So she's already been like, I'm coming next year. So I was like, okay. So we all go back.
Can I just say what this reminds me of? It reminds me like of The Red Tent or something like that. Did you read that book, The Red Tent?
It sounds familiar, but I'm not placing it. Help me.
I mean, it's basically, and I'm going to probably mess this up because I read it so many years ago, but when women, I mean, it was, I don't even remember like time period, but long ass time ago, when women would menstruate, they would all go into the red tent, right? And you have the elders and you have, I mean, it's like a generational thing.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't know. It just, that sounds really cool that your alma mater does that.
It's so hard to describe and have people get it, right? I mean, it's just an experience. So like, and there's all these traditions, right? The date back, I mean, the school was established in the 1800s. So for example, there's a night when they light up the entire campus with Chinese lanterns. And then my favorite part, there's a huge parade of all the reunion classes through the campus. And the current graduates are there and they're clapping and this, not the other, right? And they're just like, oh my gosh, this is going to be us. The highlight is always when the oldest classes are there. When I tell you these women will crawl on broken glass to be there, I'm not kidding you. If they need a cane or a walker, they are damn straight Skippy in that parade walking with it, right? Even if they're in a wheelchair, like I get emotional just thinking about it. Even if they have someone that has to push their wheelchair, they are sure as shizzle going to be in that parade. And I cry every time. And it's just the sheer courage of it all, right? It is truly what represents the best of all of this. If that is not aging disgracefully, I don't know what is.
I love that. It's such a powerful visual and just an amazing example of the power of sisterhood. I revere older women. My grandmothers were both two of the strongest, most badass women that I knew. And I love being in the wisdom and energy of older women, like older than me.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I miss having older women around me. And I love that the friends that my mom and your mom had reach out to us, that we're still part of their lives and they still like check in. It's very much this tribe of women. And it's kind of interesting because some of them have said to me, I don't know if you've had this experience, Karen, but they kind of feel a responsibility to be there for us in the sense that because they knew our moms, that they kind of are there to like represent. And I love that, right? I really do. So, okay, here's another one. All right. What are rules in quotes, air quotes, that you openly break now on the regular that you would have never done before?
Oh my gosh, that's easy. Just not doing shit I don't want to do. Like I'm so much better at saying no and not feeling guilty about it. Like even if I would say no when I was younger, I would feel so bad. Like, oh my God, I should have, been the head of that committee on whatever, blah, blah, blah. But now it's just like, if I don't have the emotional capacity or physical ability to do it, it's like, I have no problem saying no.
Thank you. Next. I literally just had a conversation with my husband about this topic. So he's British, as many of you know. So his favorite band in the world it's not very well known in the US, but they're massive in the UK and some other parts of the world. I don't know if they're big in Japan, but there you go. They're called James, and he's only seen them live once a long, long time ago before they recorded his favorite song of all time. And they're one of those bands who still puts out some records, right? Kind of a la Dave Matthews, but tours constantly because that's really where their magic happens. The lead singer will walk into the crowd on people's shoulders and then just crowd surfs, right? Like the trust fall exercise to end all trust fall exercises. So I told him, I was like, we should go. We saw a video the other day and of one of their live performances. And he's like, well, they aren't popular here, so I don't know. I'm like, come on, look. So sure enough, they're touring and they're going to do a date a couple hours away from here, right? And he's full of excuses. He's like, oh, the venue is too small. Oh, we're too old to go and stand in general admission. I'm like, are you insane? This venue holds 1,000 people. That's a good thing, right? And you don't think this is a golden opportunity to see them because we're too old? I'm like, we are going and we are buying general admission tickets. And we did it. That's his Father's Day present this year. He's like, I'm so glad you talked me into this.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Right? I'm so excited.
I think we're very quick to talk ourselves out of things like that. Oh, it's, I usually go to bed at this time and I'll be up late or
God forbid.
And you never, ever, after you do something like that, you never regret it, ever.
My name is Lisa Corachella McDowell, and I'm not just a healthy smoothie girl. Check out nextlevellifewithlisa.com, my website and centerpiece for all that I do. Connect with me about my free classes, the fabulous health and wellness products I have, literacy work, special education advocacy, and social media. I try to live my truth and put it all out there authentically. And for a special offer, go to nextlevellifewithlisa.com/podcast tribe for some exclusive goodies for my Drinks with the Girls listeners. See you there.
To the question earlier too, it's like the other thing I'm really good at is saying yes. Like I say yes to things pretty, quickly, knowing like exactly what you're talking about. I don't want to regret passing this up.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. What are your dreams for when you're older? Like I know you talked a little bit about the cruise piece, but I want you to think into the future, like when your kids are more launched, because I know launching kids and whatever that looks like, that takes a lot of energy and it's hard to think about dreams when you're doing that. But, like maybe 10 years in the future?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I did tell you about the cruise thing. That's a must. That's like a non-negotiable, right? I would really love to run my business actually and retire from my corporate gig from the ship so I could travel all the time. Like that's the goal, right? But the reality is though, and this is an LSFAE, which is our acronym, right? Long story for another episode. But my son is developmentally delayed and he's going to need support for his lifetime. He does qualify for support, but it's still something that we have to be cognizant of. So the idea would be that we're going to add on to our house and make an apartment for him in the next few years, and we'll have a home base there. But, I'm not going to say in spite of that, right? We will travel as much as we possibly can. I really believe that there's ways that this is going to work. It's just a matter of we need to make sure that he's taken care of. And again, long story, another episode. I feel like this way, that's going to be what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're just taking into account doing both. It's not one or the other.
Totally.
I feel like I always have a lot of dreams on deck. And actually right now I'm living a dream that I manifested.
You are.
Being on 3 acres with dogs and cats and chickens and a turtle. But this dream is kind of in flux right now. And I thought it was a forever dream, like until we hit the retirement home. I saw us here, like I wanted it all. The goats, alpacas, donkeys. I wanted a place where kids, grandkids, friends, family all want to come for a getaway. And we've created that. People love coming here and spending. Usually you have to spend a night. It's really hard to kind of just come for a day because we're not super close. And so we've created this. This dream is here. But the reality is it takes a lot of time and money. It's a big property. And I mean, you know about this. You've done farm life. And the kids are so busy. The grandkids are busy. And so it's hard for them to carve out time. So we're having to kind of adjust our dream, our next dream, kind of on the back of this dream. And when my kids start having kids, if they choose to, I want to be a little closer to them. And I also want to have freedom to travel. Like 12 chickens, 4 dogs, makes it hard to pick up and go for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my dreams are in flux right now. And I mean, honestly, I have some grief around that, but we can dive into that another day.
Yeah, I get that. I definitely get that. I mean, you're right. I had that when we lived on my parents' property. We had 150 chickens, 3 goats, 12 rabbits. Oh, I'm not done. 3 horses, a dog, and 9 cats. I feel like I've left out a species in there somewhere, but I bred and trained horses. That was my dream, right? I wanted a working farm that at least paid for itself, and it was awesome. But it was a lot of work. Lot, especially in the winter up here in Oregon because it rains, right? And ultimately, when I realized my kids had special needs and they would need a lot of support for a long time, I realized I just couldn't keep up. I needed to spend the time I spent working with the animals with them. So I had to make a choice. And I don't regret the choice. I also don't regret having the farm either.
Yeah, definitely. I think it just goes to show, like, sometimes when you manifest the dream you want, or you reach the dream you want, you realize maybe it's not what you want for the long term. And that's the beautiful thing about dreaming. You get to decide what you want, and we get to change our minds. And I just don't want to get to the end of my life with a regret. Like, I would have regretted not trying out this dream I'm currently living.
100%. And I don't think it's ever about like making a mistake. That's not the dream I want. It's really more about the fact that life is fluid, right? Shizzle happens. And I have learned that even if it's not forever, it's still great to dream big and get what you want.
Absolutely. There are no mistakes in dreaming. And I think it's so powerful too, to get what you want. Like, I mean, not to get all woo-woo and all that, but it's like,
get woo-woo.
It shows you the power that, like, when you and the universe are working together, like what you can do when you believe you can live your dream, when you believe your dreams are worthy and that you're capable and that the universe is working in your favor. Like, oh my gosh, it gives me goosebumps. Each dream is like a stepping stone to the next one.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I have so many stories of female friends and relatives, and it's the husband, the partner that's like, oh, I don't know if we should do this. I don't know if we should move to Eastern Europe and teach, right? And I remember my aunt had this conversation with my uncle. She was like, I'm not going to sit around and waste my life. And she went without him. We were all just like, what just happened? And she did it. Yeah. And it was fine, right? And they worked it out, but she was just like, yeah, right, done. Catch on the flip side. We were all gobsmacked, right? And really, that's the God's honest truth, right? Don't waste your life. That's the mantra and the playbook. You don't get a do-over. I always tell my husband, who's much less willing to, obviously, previous story, to break those rules and go up against societal norms, that he has got more life out than in. And I'm always like, what are you going to do with the rest of the road? There's so much road, but it's not endless. And you can sit here and like whinge about it, or you can just go for it.
Absolutely. My bonus mom would say, this is not a dress rehearsal. Life is not a dress rehearsal. Like, you get one. So make the frickin' best of it. So we want to hear from you, our listeners. What does aging disgracefully mean to you? What dreams do you have for the future? What lessons have you learned?
Yeah, I'm super excited to hear everyone's stories on this topic. Long live disgrace. Amen. I know, right? Yeah, cussing grandmas. I love it. I think we need biker jackets. I really do. Oh, merch. We can have merch.
Let's get our merch people on that.
Cussing grandmas. God, I love it.
We don't have merch people.
I know. Someday,
we are the merch people.
Yeah, we are the exactly, right? Maybe, but cussing grandmas, leather jackets. I don't know. That has a ring to it. So, as always, of course, it's been a pleasure to hang out with you all in this episode. Please like, share, and of course, subscribe. That is what helps us grow our kick butt community here. We will see you next time on Drinks with the Girls.
Cheers.